sages teach us that one should sanctify the Shabbat by honoring it and having pleasure in it. They explain that honor is done through wearing clean clothes and pleasure is done through eating and drinking pleasurable foods. They are referred to as kavod and oneg, honor and pleasure.
Shopping for Shabbat. When? Goods that don't need cooking should be bought on Friday, so that it is obvious that it is bought in the honor of Shabbat. Goods that need preparation should be bought on Friday to allow adequate time for them to be prepared. For all that one buys for Shabbat, one should say that this is for the honor of Shabbat.
How much should one spend? All one's financial needs are decided on Rosh Hashanah. The budget for Shabbat expenses is, however, different. According to one's expenditures, Hashem provides. Even if one does not have ready money, he should borrow on collateral that he has and Hashem promises to pay back. Laveh alai ve'ani poreah. If, however, a person does not have collateral to back up the loan, one should not borrow. He preferably should make his Shabbat like a regular weekday meal, rather than have to ask people for financial assistance.
What should one buy? The mitzvah of Oneg Shabbos is to buy food that one has pleasure from. It need not be meat and wine, but since most people have pleasure from that, it is usually bought for Shabbat. One should have fish at every meal of Shabbat and minimum of 2 cooked foods for Shabbat meal.
Food gifts. If one receives a food gift before Shabbat for the Shabbat meal, it is proper to save the food item for the Shabbat meal.
Challah baking. In the honor of Shabbat, there is a custom to make homemade challah. Besides for this, honoring Shabbat, it also ensures that one eat Jewish bread on the Shabbat, even if he does not eat that during the week.
Beit Shammai would eat the whole week in the honor of Shabbat. If he saw a delicacy on Sunday, he would buy it and say this is honor of Shabbat. If he found a better delicacy on Monday, he would buy that one for the honor of Shabbat and eat the delicacy bought on Sunday during the week. The same thing would continue each day. Thus, every day he ate the meal that he originally intended to have on Shabbat. Hillel was of the opinion that one should trust that Hashem would provide the need of each day on that day. The halachic ruling is like Hillel, but Hillel himself said one should do like Shammai did.
Who should prepare? In the honor of Shabbat, every person should take part in the preparations for Shabbat. The great Tanaim would personally be involved. Some would chop wood and others make a fire. One should not think it is below his dignity, because the opposite is true. It is the dignity of a person that he honors the Shabbat. At least one task for Shabbat is an obligation on every person.
Preparing the home. In the honor of Shabbat, one should ensure that his house is neat, beds are made, and the table is set, so that when one returns from the evening service in the synagogue, he finds his house is in the appropriate condition.
Preparing oneself. One should shower in hot water and dress in special clothing in the honor of Shabbat. It is preferable to shower and dress close to Shabbat, so that it is evidence that one is doing so in the honor of Shabbat. One's clothes for Shabbat should be designated for Shabbat and of better quality than ordinary clothes. Some have a custom to have a full change of clothing specifically for Shabbat.
Warming the food. Enjoying hot food is a part of Oneg Shabbat. To ensure the food is hot for the meal, one should make the necessary arrangement prior to Shabbat. On Shabbat, one may not cook and one is restricted in placing items on a fire to stay warm or reheat. Therefore, all cooking and warming processes must begin before Shabbat. In addition, one needs to ensure that he does not mistakenly come to cook or ignite a fire by changing the stove temperature on Shabbat. Our sages have instructed us of how these precautions should be done. The ideal scenario is 1. Ensure the food is fully cooked before the Shabbat. 2. When using a stove top or a hot plate with a temperature dial, place a metal sheet between the burner and the pot and cover the stove or warmer knob. The second scenario is, if the food is not fully cooked, one may still leave it on the fire, ideally at a fully raw state for meats and slow cooking items, and at a half-cooked state for other items. In the worst case scenario, one may leave the pot on the stove, even if it is not fully cooked and the metal sheet is in place and the knobs are covered. One should not leave foods in an oven which is still ignited. One should also not wrap foods in heat-generating blankets or a regular blanket while the pot is still on a heat source. In a case of an urn where the heat source cannot be covered, one should ensure that the water is half boiled before the Shabbat sets in. It is important to remember that on Shabbat one may not switch on or off a heat source, even change the temperature.